you deaf, old man? Can't you move faster?
Billionaire pretends to be an elderly caregiver to see how people will treat him when he gets old. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps keep stories like this coming. You deaf old man, can't you move faster? The nurse's voice cracked through the hallway like thunder. Her arms were crossed, her eyes burning with irritation. Behind her, a man in his late 70s. At least that's how he looked, clutched his cane, trembling slightly as he tried to take another step forward. His name tag read George Halford, but no one knew the truth. That man was really Gregory Hawthorne, billionaire founder of H-Tech Corporation, one of the most powerful AI companies in the world. A man worth over $50 billion. He could buy and sell this entire nursing home and everyone in it. But now, disguised under advanced makeup, prosthetics, and tech, Gregory was on a mission to find out how the world treated the weak and forgotten, and how it would treat him when he became one of them. And so far, it was brutal. His first day had started early. At 6 a.m., a rude knock on his door woke him from fake snoring. "Wake up, old man. You got breakfast in 10. A young male attendant, barely 20, had already opened the door and was tossing clothes onto the foot of Gregory's small cot. "No need to yell," Gregory said softly, trying to stay in character. The boy rolled his eyes. "Don't play smart. You mess your pants again, I'm not cleaning it." Gregory watched as the boy slammed the door shut. For a second, he just stood there in silence. This was what people went through in these places. He slowly got up, dressed in the oversized gray sweatpants and thin shirt, and shuffled down to the cafeteria with the help of his cane. The food smelled like cardboard. Dry toast, overboiled eggs, lukewarm tea. Gregory sat at a small table, watching others around him, most of them real residents. Some drooling, some silent, others shaking from Parkinson's or staring off, forgotten by their families. He offered a smile to the woman next to him. "Morning," he said. She blinked, confused. "Do I know you?" "I'm George. First day." The woman smiled faintly. "Welcome to hell." That hit him. Later that day, Gregory wandered through the lounge area and spotted a scene that made his blood boil. A man in a wheelchair had dropped his book. 2 nurses saw it. They laughed. "Pick it up for me, please," the old man pleaded. They turned their backs and walked away. Gregory's hands clenched under the table. It was only day 1, and he was already feeling things he hadn't felt in years. Not anger as a billionaire, not as a CEO, but anger as a human. Because what he was witnessing wasn't just poor service, it was dehumanization. Day 2. Gregory decided to act slower today, just to see what would happen. He dragged his feet across the hall, heading to the garden. A nurse watching him scoffed. "Oh, come on, George. You're taking forever. What are you? A turtle with arthritis." Some of the others laughed. Gregory paused. Inside, the real him wanted to lash out, to pull off the disguise, fire everyone, and burn the place down. But he stayed in character. He simply nodded and whispered, "Sorry." They laughed even harder. But that night, something changed. As Gregory returned to his room, a soft knock came at his door. He opened it to find a young black woman, maybe 25, standing with a warm smile. "Hi, I'm Angela. I'm new here. I just wanted to check on you." Gregory blinked. "You wanted to check on me?" She smiled again. "Yeah, you knew. This place can be cold. I just wanted you to know not everyone's like them." He couldn't help but smile. "Thank you." She nodded. "Can I bring you some tea from the staff room? The real one." He chuckled. "I'd love that." For the first time in 2 days, Gregory felt human again. Angela returned later with warm chamomile and a blanket. "You remind me of my grandfather," she said softly. "He passed 2 years ago, but I always said if I ever work in a place like this, I'd treat every elder like he's still watching." Gregory felt his throat tighten. This was the kind of heart he wished more people had. Day 4, Angela continued to check on him. She was the only one. The other staff treated him like furniture. Once, he dropped his fork and asked a nurse for help. She threw another fork on the table from across the room. Another time, he tried to sit in the rec room and 2 staff members began mocking his fake stutter. Angela caught them once and immediately called them out. "Would you treat your father like that?" she snapped. They laughed. "Girl, you too sensitive." She didn't back down. "No, you too heartless." 1 week later, Gregory had seen enough. He'd collected hidden audio with a mic in his cane. He'd watched how cruel people could be. The morning began, and just like the others, gray skies, a hollow cafeteria, time to reveal and a chorus of coughs and shuffles echoing down the hallway. But something was different. Today, Gregory Hawthorne, the man everyone thought was just a frail old George, had made his decision. He looked at himself in the mirror. The prosthetics on his face were wrinkled, believable, and brilliant. His team had done an incredible job with the disguise. But now, it was time to peel it all off. 10 a.m., the gathering. Angela had just arrived for her shift when a voice rang out over the intercom. "All staff and residents, please report to the lounge immediately for a surprise inspection." Confused murmurs filled the hallways. Angela leaned over to a fellow nurse. "Did you know about this?" "No clue. Probably one of those secret fundraisers or another lame health check." But the moment Angela entered the lounge, she stopped dead in her tracks. Standing tall at the front of the room was him. Gone were the hunched shoulders. Gone were the gray sweatpants. Gone was the frail old man. In his place stood a sharp-dressed billionaire in a navy suit, custom Italian loafers, and the unmistakable presence of power. It was Gregory Hawthorne. Gasps swept the room. "What's happening?" One nurse stuttered. Angela whispered, wide-eyed, That's the guy from Forbes. That's Gregory Hawthorne." Someone dropped their clipboard. The once-mocked old man had become the most powerful person in the room. Gregory stepped forward, voice calm but firm. "I spent the last 7 days here undercover. I posed as an elderly resident because I wanted to see for myself how people like me are treated when we get old, when we're weak, when the world thinks we're worthless." Silence. Pin drop silence. Gregory's eyes scanned the room, locking on the faces of those who had mocked him, ignored him, and dehumanized others. What I saw broke my heart. He lifted a remote and pressed play on a massive flat screen behind him. Hidden footage from his disguised cane rolled. A nurse mocking a resident for wetting himself. 2 attendants laughing at a woman trying to remember her daughter's name. Staff tossing out untouched meals while residents complained of hunger. The room was in shock. One nurse began to cry. Another tried to walk out, but security blocked the door. "You wanted to humiliate the elderly," Gregory said. "Now you'll answer for it." Then came the twist. Gregory looked directly at Angela. "But not all of you failed." He walked across the room toward her, eyes warm now. There was one person who showed real humanity. One person who treated the weak the way we all should be treated, with compassion, patience, and dignity. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a thick white envelope. Angela looked confused. "What is this?" Gregory smiled. $250,000. A personal thank you from me, and a full scholarship to any medical school in the country. I did my research. You want to become a geriatric doctor, right? Angela's mouth fell open. Her hands trembled. "It's how did you?" He nodded. "You told George during tea one night. I never forgot." The room erupted in applause, some sincere, others jealous. Angela burst into tears and hugged him. Gregory turned back to the staff. "To those of you who abused your position, you're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." For nurses were removed from the room, faces red with embarrassment, avoiding every camera that flashed as Gregory's PR team recorded everything. "This footage," Gregory added, "will be used to improve elder care worldwide. I'm donating $10 million to establish a new training institute, one that teaches caregivers how to treat the elderly with love, not resentment." Cheers. Claps. Emotional residents hugged each other. The internet blew up that night. The video was titled, "Billionaire Pretends to be Elderly Man." What he exposed shocked the world. Within 24 hours, it had 12 million views. People in the comments shared stories of their own grandparents being neglected. Others praised Angela as the angel of care. News stations called Gregory the undercover billionaire with a heart. But for Gregory, it wasn't about fame. It was about truth and a personal reminder. One day, he really would be old, and he didn't want to be treated like a burden. A year later, Gregory opened the Hawthorne School for Elder Care Excellence, with Angela as its first student speaker. She stood on stage in a white coat, tears in her eyes, and shared the story of the man who changed her life by pretending to need her help. And Gregory? He stood backstage, watching with a smile. This time, no disguise. Just hope. Hope that kindness could be taught, shared, and passed down to the next generation. 2 weeks after Gregory Hawthorne blew the lid off the neglect at the elderly care facility, headlines still dominated the internet. He pretended to be weak, but he owns everything. Undercover Billionaire launches $10 million elder care reform. The nurse who changed the billionaire's heart. But behind the viral moment, something else was happening, something far bigger. Gregory had quietly purchased the very building that once neglected him. He didn't just want to fire people. He wanted to build something that would last, a legacy that would change how the world treats its elderly. Angela stood in front of a sealed red door at the back of the facility. She hadn't noticed it before. It had always been hidden, painted to blend in. But now it was wide open, with a golden plaque newly mounted. The future room. Gregory's voice came from behind her. "You ready to see what's next?" Angela turned. "What is this?" He smiled. "Come inside." They stepped into a room that looked like something out of a futuristic movie. Floating screens showed real-time vitals of elderly patients. Soft, voice-activated AIs offered gentle reminders for medicine and hydration. Holographic assistants read books to residents. Warm sunlight filtered through smart glass panels that changed temperature with a whisper. Angela's mouth dropped. "Is this real?" Gregory nodded. "Prototype 001. A smart wing for elder care. No more cold food. No more forgotten birthdays. No more being treated like burdens. But why show me this? Angela asked. Because I want you to run it. Her eyes widened. Me? Gregory looked directly into her soul. You're the reason I believe this can work. Days turned to weeks. With Angela at the helm, the facility transformed. Residents were smiling. Music echoed through the halls. Formerly ignored grandpas were dancing with nurses during weekly salsa sessions. Birthday celebrations became community events. Patients from around the country asked to be transferred there. Gregory visited often, always dressed casually now, no longer needing the billionaire image. One day he asked Angela, "Do you remember what I said about seeing how people would treat me when I'm old?" She nodded. "Yeah, you said you were scared." He smiled gently. "Not anymore, because if the future holds more people like you, I'll be just fine." Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Gregory received a letter, written in messy handwriting, sent from prison. "Mr. Hawthorne, I used to work at that facility. I was one of the ones who laughed. I deserve where I am now, but I just wanted to say thank you. Because of you, I've started to care. About people, about myself. I volunteer in the prison nursing ward now. Your kindness exposed my cruelty. You didn't just change the world. You changed me." Gregory sat in silence, tears welling in his eyes. That letter meant more than any dollar ever could. 1 year later, the Future Room had gone global. Gregory had funded 5 more across the U.S., with hundreds more in the works. Angela, now a certified doctor, became the face of the movement. Everywhere they went, people would whisper, "Is that the nurse who saved the billionaire?" And Gregory would always correct them. "No, that's the nurse who saved us all."